for the DC Universe Classics line. I believe it started in 2008. Definitely got me back into toy collecting when Marvel Legends was basically out of the picture. DC was doing great at this time. I think the line was doing fantastic at the start. Kind of started slopping later on over the years, making figures bleaker and not making enough retools. But definitely a great collection overall. So we're just going to go up close. I guess we'll just start up here with the lanterns. This is when a lot of these figures came out when the Green Lantern movie was coming out. And they did a really good job with a lot of the figures. I wish they made some more, but I mean, you know, what? Each sector has like 7,200 lanterns, so obviously it's impossible. But there was a lot of figures that Mattel did do, and it's a shame that they didn't get to do a bunch, but they did a great job. I love the constructs that they created for a lot of the characters. They made Dexstar and BDG and I forget the other thing. But they did a lot of great characters here. A lot of unique sculpts. There's Stell in the back, Kilowog, which McFarlane is doing his own version with that. Then some Blue Lanterns. Now, apologize here. Some DC collectibles are here. You know, there's some that you'll probably spot that Mattel did not do. You got the Manhunters here. Had Army build that a little bit. Then kind of coming over here was the superpowers that they did. Towards the end, they started focusing a lot on getting like some of the superpowers. They wanted to wrap up that. Here's some other versions. And then here's Challenge of the Super Friends. I wanted to put that center of my collection because that's what got me into superheroes really in general when I was a kid. So I loved these figures a lot when Mattel was doing them. Giganta, Solomon Grundy. My favorite, Toyman. He's the boss. Then coming over here, got that Zen and Jada with Glee. Then other Crime Syndicate figures and kind of DCUC's end line with that Lobo with DC Multiverse. So some very, very nice figures. The Darkseid Classic suit was a fantastic one. And one of the last great figures they did before they rebranded to DC Multiverse was this Doomsday here. Such a fantastic classic looking Doomsday. Anyone would be lucky to have this one, I'd say. But, you know, Mattel did a great job. Got Metallo in the back there. That was one of the early figures. Really great. The containment suit Doomsday. Really glad that they were able to make those happen, even when the line wasn't doing great. Some other old stuff in the DC Superheroes line, the Brainiac, Supergirl. And then over here, it kind of just turns into Suicide Squad, and I wanted to have them face Starro here. I forget, it was like the DC Infinite line that had Starro. But then there was these Spores for San Diego Comic-Con. I loved putting those on some of these extra Batmans and Supermans, whatnot. So great, great figures to have, and I think it's a nice display to use. And then they did a great job with the Batman's Rogue Gallery and Pardon and Condiment King being back there. But, you know, some great, great figures here. Here's their version of Bane. I think they did a really nice job with that one. You know, some stuff they kind of lacklustered in though, you know. But got that classic Alfred. That was one of the best figures that they made it before the line was switched over to McFarlane. Tons of characters. I really loved Mattel because they made sure to do a bunch of variety of characters. They just kind of were all under that same sculpt typically. This one, I actually customized myself. This is Firefly, using the Killer Moth body. And I used some other Marvel Legend pieces, like for the accessories and stuff. And, you know, the reason why I made this one was because Mattel was about to make Firefly, I believe, or he was on the list, but then he just got booted off. And I had a broken antenna for my Killer Moth, so I said, screw it, I'm just going to make him into Firefly. So I think that came out very well. Pretty much one of the customs I only got for Mattel's DC UC. Then Teen Titans, they did a great job with those figures. You know, Metal Man, that was a fantastic set. I'm glad that they completed it. Very happy that they tried to complete as much teams as they could. Got the Doom Patrol, some Justice League Dark, Jonah Hex. Look how awesome this was. I think this is what, in 2012, 2011? You know, that's a fantastic figure for what they were able to do. That was really before the line kind of flipped. Then over here, just some other ones. The first Build-A-Figure, Metamorpho. Can't wait to see him in Superman Legacy. Then there's the Brimstone from the Public Enemies line. So, you know, they did some really cool figures. Here's the Cheetah. This is from the, this is a figure that got canceled because they considered her naked. So, I had to pay a pretty penny for that one, but I'm absolutely happy to have her in my collection. And then Ares, bunch of cool figures, man. I loved the plastic man with the suitcase. Definitely, I think they were very creative when they were making this line. They were very creative. Like they did, you know, they have ups and downs, you know. I just wish they were trying to update the line faster. And then when they did start updating the sculpts and everything, they stopped doing the classic scenes. They just kept trying to focus on what's modern. Kind of pretty much what ended up destroying the line, I think. But I digress. JSA here, great set. Legion of Superheroes. A lot of these came from that 12 pack, so those were really fun to have. Beautiful packaging. Really loved that. This was like that spit-off line, Batman Unlimited, I think it was called. I can't really remember. Then coming down, not much here for Mattel, but then we get the Movie Masters, which were really good at the time. These figures are really getting outdated, especially with McFarlane's update. I actually had a bunch more of these, but downsized. Then Green Lantern figures, terrible figures for the most part, but Parallax was a fantastic Build-A-Figure. I think that was one of the best Build-A-Figures ever made. Just really a terrible background for why it's made, but I think it still works for just a comic appearance as well, though. Then they kind of had their, you know, I think they drifted away from whoever did Movie Masters at first, and then they started doing their own. Didn't really work out for them because a lot of these figures were just meh. You know, or like really just bland, like that Lex Luthor, just... Yeah, and what am I saying, right? I'm owning the damn thing, right? But, you know, I definitely wish they had a better, you know, figures towards the end, because a lot of these were coming out towards the end and were just really lackluster in quality. But, you know, they had their moments. Got the Parademons here. I wish McFarlane would attack those. But, you know, Mattel, I think they did a decent job with them. Then coming over here, there's just a few sneaky ones. Got that Val Kilmer Batman before the series ended. Then Alfred and Penguin, of course. These figures, you know, maybe they'll see an update from McFarlane. But I definitely liked having them going for it kind of towards the end. It was just a little too late. They weren't big on vehicles, but they did do a great job with the Batmobile for the Batman vs. Superman movie. I think that was a fantastic vehicle. Well done on their part. And then they also did the Batman 66 line with the Batmobile. I thought that was a great one as well. Then, of course, the Movie Masters, they did their own version of the Batpod, the Batman. Now, I wanted to point out one con from this Mattel line that really does suck, and it's really unexpected. You have to be very careful if you are collecting these figures. Is sometimes figures aren't stored right, or there's some sort of yellowing effect. So I wanted to use this Joker as the prime example here. this Joker, I know I bought him in the secondary market, so this could have been because of someone from before, but the paint on here just starts to change from the center here, and you can see the pants being what the true color should be at the bottom, but then they just kind of yellow out here. Obviously, this just changes that red color. So this has happened to a few other figures. I had this happen to my Legion of Superhero figures. Actually, this one was my fault because I kind of had sun facing them. I ended up having to replace the line, but it definitely affected some of the figures, and even the replacements I got, and they weren't perfect. The Superman back there, he was affected heavily. The Brainiac was. You could see there's slightly a change here. You know, that's the downside, though. Like, it doesn't happen often, but it does happen. So that's something just to consider if you are going to jump in and try to catch up with some of these old figures. I mean, it's a legacy line, really, so if you wanted to ever just jump in and try to get it, because you know there's an end point at least. That's what I appreciate about DCUC. There's an end point. But, you know, it doesn't happen to all figures, but it does happen to some of them. So keep that in mind. Keep that in mind for definitely that Legion of Superheroes 12-pack. Observe them. If you're trying to buy them, observe them. And then here just had the Joker and Harley Quinn and the Flash from the old show here. And that was pretty much what Mattel did towards the end. I think overall it was a fun series. It really was a fun thing to collect. They definitely went after a lot of the classic suits. That's what I love. They did some variants here and there. They just, you know, they just didn't update in time. And I think a lot of the bad movies really set it back too. That's another downside. But I think they are having a comeback. McFarlane has been doing a fantastic job. The only downside is they can't make guns, but that's pretty much it, you know. I think these figures are fantastic. I love Mattel, what they did over the years. I'm definitely going to keep most of these guys in my collection because, you know, they're just, you know, some of them are too tough to beat. It's true. Some are very easy to beat, but, you know, it is what it is. So anyways, guys, that is it for this video. I hope you did enjoy it. So hit that thumbs up button if you did. Subscribe to the channel. Share this video out there. And thank you guys again for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.